Do you get overwhelmed with decision making, with the number of choices which are available to you? And does that feel extremely frustrating and constraining? Because days go by and you kind of find yourself doing a lot of frantic actions, perhaps, and then ultimately feeling like you're not really moving forward because of the fact that you are just doing so many actions. And I spoke to somebody the other day, and she said, she just said it was like throwing spaghetti at the wall. So we'll not focus on this picture for too long because it's making me hungry. But let's look at what's going on, not to give you a mental model or framework necessarily, but just to help you to step back a little bit and think about what you're thinking about, and hopefully help you to come up with a plan here to help you to reduce the noise and then reduce the choices, and then be able to do something that's actually aligned to you and to where you want to go in your life and business. Okay. So I'm going to keep in mind this business owner that I was speaking to just yesterday, and she has a product which she sells D2C, and it's also a good product to sell to wholesale, to multiple different industries, and into retail stores as a wholesale product. The product is, we'll put it in the sort of linen, towels, sheets, bed linen sort of category, right? Like home goods, but also useful for other types of industry as well. Be that hospitality, healthcare, so on and so on. We don't need to get into the actual product. I want to kind of keep it broad enough that you can kind of fit yourself into what's going on here, okay? So I said to her, like, I asked a bunch of questions, and it basically comes down to the fact that she wants growth, which we can all agree that we usually all want some growth, and she wants speed. Now, interestingly, like the speed component will get heavier and heavier. It will be more and more of a strong desire the longer you spend in spaghetti mode, because the longer you spend here, the more energy and resources you're putting into just chucking stuff out there and seeing what works. You're going to feel slow because this is not the quickest way of doing things, right? So speed becomes more and more of a demand and a requirement. So as life goes on, time goes by, this desire gets stronger and stronger. And it can be that you feel more and more frustrated because time has gone by, right? You haven't made the progress that you wanted to, and you still feel like speed is not happening as we just keep like chucking stuff out there. And as we're chucking stuff out there, what I tangibly mean by that is, you know, contacting these companies in these industries. We have this product and it does X, Y, Z. Should we focus on X? Should we focus on Z? Should we focus on Y? Which one of these qualities is going to appeal to which one of these different sectors of the market, right? We have like tons and tons of variables here. And that's what I mean by chucking, or what she meant by chucking spaghetti at the wall. So it's like, this product quality, this could work with this niche over here, and then this one here, this could work here, and both of these together could kind of work here as well. And if we want to sell to wholesale, we need to focus on these qualities. The fact that like the wholesale price is good, the margin is this much, right? If it's hospitality, we need to focus on the fact that this product like washes really well and it's durable, blah blah blah. That's what I mean. So you're kind of like, contact this person, give this thought, contact this person, this thought, this person, this thought. Where do you start? Like, who do you contact? Which one of these is the strongest? Like, how do you rank what you're going to do? What do you do tomorrow? This is what we mean by this, and this is what leads to like a lack of speed, a lack of growth, and an increased desire or frustration at this point that we're just not making any progress towards the goal, right? We're here, the goal is here, and we're just sort of meandering around here somewhere, all right? That's a lot of frustration. So there's a desire there to bridge this gap and be like, what do I do? There's someone to tell you what you should do. I don't really believe that when I'm speaking to someone, I should be the one to tell them exactly what to do. I want them to tell me what they want to do and what they're going to do, right? So to take you through again the thought process behind simplifying this and making some progress, the first thing is to ascertain, like, what do you actually want? And the first thing people say is they want growth and they want it fast. Okay, that's led to this behavior, but what do you actually want? Okay, that's a question which often people haven't thought about for quite some time. So what do you actually want? And let's really get deep into that. So if I was speaking to you, I would try to get you to really visualize and articulate what you actually want. Okay. Now, at this point, I could say there are different models which can help you to determine, based on what you want, like what order you should do stuff. Okay. So I could do this first because this has like the highest RICE score, RICE. And this is basically something which gives you the most upside for the least downside. It essentially, it's a score to say this: if you do this activity, you'll get what you want. Okay. I'm not going to give you that right now because I feel like to use the RICE model, and you can see I even have like a RICE model here in my taskbar. It's very good. But to use it, you need to be thinking cleanly, and you need to understand what you actually want. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to put the RICE thing together, and you're going to get a score which says you should do this thing, and you're still going to procrastinate and be indecisive about that because you don't genuinely feel aligned to that task, right? Because it doesn't fit in the grand scheme of things. You could take on this project which has a high score, but actually that project's not really going to take you where you want to go ultimately, like what you really want. It might make you tons of money, but it could be that you're operating in entirely the wrong niche right now and you're miserable. It could be that you have to do R&D on this product which is selling really well, and there's opportunity to sell it to these other places, but actually you've fallen out of love with that product, or you hate that product, or yeah. So essentially, like, a high score on the RICE thing is meaningless unless we've gone through this scenario of what you actually want. Okay. So all of these models and stuff aside, let's just proceed with our train of thought here. So in this case, having gone into like, what do you really want? It was that, well, this product's actually really good and it should be everywhere. But we recognize the fact that we... Okay. So having broken this down, like, what do you actually want? We get to, okay, this is a great product. This should be in all these different places. We can't possibly deal with everyone, but this would feel amazing if more of this type of person had this product in their hands, because that would be like really, truly letting the product shine and do what it does best. And if these people used it, that's the ideal scenario. And what do you actually want? Well, I want a business where I'm not so involved in all these different wholesale accounts anymore. I'm sick of doing these small deals with all these stores, and it takes like a year to sell the stock. And then there's a problem with delivery, or they want more of a margin, or they want to chop and change their order. And I'm not getting a lot of money for this anyway, and I don't find it particularly fulfilling. But in this space, people really love the product. I get great feedback. People are a pleasure to deal with. They're easy to order from, blah, blah, blah. So as a business, I want to be more like a wholesale business. I want to go where the product is appreciated. I want to work with good people. I want to feel good about what I do. Great. That's getting a lot closer to what you actually want. Now we can look at the concrete must-have attributes of the ideal client. In this case, we've already, from a huge pool of different things, we said, okay, the ideal client is this corporate client of certain criteria, okay? And they must place large orders, they must place frequent orders, and they must be easy to deal with and sell to. In other words, like, there's a pleasure in dealing with these people, right? Awesome. Okay. As you think through all this, you will then hit objections, internal objections, and they will be emotional ones, and there will be real life practical ones, which are actually grounded in truth and reality. Okay. Oftentimes they are not. And we have to start to dismantle the objection until it becomes something more relating to actual real life. Okay. Because often it's just coming from your imagination. Objection is quite legitimate. How do I get in front of the right person then? So if we've narrowed it down to this person within this whole huge industry, how do I get in front of this person? The other thing is, how do I make it time right? Okay, so there's a timing aspect to this, where this particular this particular segment of the market will only buy the products at a particular time. And they might only need these things 2, 3, 4 times a year, right? So there's a constraint here. There's 2 constraints. So how to get in front of the right person, how to do it at the right time. That felt like a really mammoth objection. How on earth do I get over this? Well, we need to look at, okay, how do we take this objection apart now? Because we need to reduce the number of friction points for you in order that you can go ahead and execute on your plan now, right? Now you've got some clarity over where you want to go, and you're starting to build a plan of how you can get there, and you're starting to erase like all these multiple different avenues you could go down. And now you've come to a point where there's just a few legitimate objections stopping you. Great. So we pull apart the objection. So how do you get in front of the right person? How do you get in front of the right person at the right time? So for me, time is the real constraint here, right? So if we could do all this right person stuff, but there's a time window to it. And that's the real constraint. We can only get in front of the right person at the right time. So how could we remove this? We remove this by looking at the people who don't need to order it only at certain times of the year, right? So we look at like company A, which actually supplies other companies who have sporadic requirements around the year. So in other words, they have lots of clients that order like once or twice a year. However, these are all at different times of the year. So if you look at their calendar, it's actually fully booked, right? So the time thing doesn't go away. Now we just interact with one company that deals with multiple companies. Awesome. What about right time in the sense of, let me just go back to my notes here. Okay, so like an evergreen need. So in this case, there was like marinas, yacht sales, yacht charter, hospitality events, sauna spas, right? So these are people who do not need the product at a certain time of the year. These are ongoing needs, so these are evergreen. So do you see now straight away we've dismantled this objection by getting rid of the time component. Okay, there's a legitimate time component here which we can handle via another company, and there's no time component over the opportunities which are evergreen. So we look for those. So now we have a balance of criteria. We have large orders, frequent orders, easy to deal with, sell to, evergreen, and not under any kind of time constraint. Awesome. Now the only problem now is how do we get in front of the right person? That is pretty simple. Okay, we can do this through LinkedIn, we can do this through ads, we can do this through Instagram, whatever, even like direct mail. But now we know we can focus just on this. So when we wake up in the morning, what are we doing? We're doing this. Okay, there's nothing else. And you don't need to feel like busy. Just focus on this. And if this is meeting this criteria of what you actually want, and these are the ideal people that you want to deal with, then this activity should feel pretty effortless. It should feel easy. It should feel like something you actually want to do. And it should feel like it's a good use of your time, energy, and talents, right? So now you get up, you just do this. That's pretty straightforward. And other stuff's going to come at you and distract you. And that's another video, because you've got to stay the course. Because often, like, this isn't going to happen overnight. Like, finding these people isn't going to happen overnight. But if you do, this is a big payout. Remember, large orders, frequent orders. So it's worth putting the time in. It's worth it. The upside is huge. You know, you put some time in to something, you're looking for a big payback. This gets you the big payback, not just because this is tied to revenue and growth, which we said at the beginning is what you want, but also it is actually what you want. So it has an emotional upside to it as well, right? So now you just have to execute on it. And this is the thing, you've got to be prepared to go into a bit of a trough here. You have to. And you're going to want to do other stuff. You're going to want to do other stuff which feels like it's quicker. Speed kills, I'm going to say. But speed kills because speed isn't always what you want. Remember, like, speed can just be this false thing which has occurred because of the fact that you are now in a hurry. It's not that you actually need it quickly. You need to actually get rid of speed, because by slowing down, you'll speed up. Okay? By slowing down and just doing this one thing here, you'll speed up, because actually things will start to pick up and go faster for you. And now you have feedback as well. Now a feedback loop starts. Oh, I did this thing. I got this client. This is a dream client. How did I get that dream client? I did blah, 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 blah. And then I got a dream client. So now I have a feedback loop. Things can actually start to go faster, because now I just don't bother reaching out to these people. I only reach out to these people. I only say these things. I don't say these things, right? And now it gets quicker and quicker and quicker. Now speed actually comes into it as well. Hopefully this is making sense. The last thing I will say is that as you start to piece this all together, the pieces of the puzzle do start to fit. So like, how do I get in front of the right person? Oftentimes that is just like staying front of mind. And then we actually start to relieve the time equation as well. And we get to start dealing with people who are only going to order like once or twice a year. So by starting here, hopefully you're following this through, by getting in front of them and then engaging and just staying front of mind, emailing them from time to time, interacting with them on LinkedIn. Maybe it's someone seeing your ads again and again and again and again, right? And maybe you're giving some free value, maybe you're talking to that person. The timing will then overlap. And then when the time comes where that big purchase decision needs to happen, you will be the first person they think of, and you'll be the first person they go to, because you've already given them so much value up front, right? And the reciprocity kicks into it. So actually, we solve for the time component as well. That feels really cool and really elegant, the way we've just gone through that. But hopefully, what I've gone through in my head is actually translating into, hopefully you can follow this through as well. But yeah, what were kind of the key things here? The key things, again, were just kind of figuring out what it is that's actually going on right now. What do you sort of want? Growth and speed, typically. But then what do you really want? This situation, how do you kind of want to go there? I want these sorts of people to take me there. And this is also what I want. Like day to day, I want to deal with this kind of thing. I want to build this kind of business. Okay, then we do that. Great. This sounds great. Objection. Boom. You hit the wall. What's the problem? Oh, it's, well, how do I get in front of this kind of person? And these people only order at this time, like once or twice a year. That's not going to work. That doesn't solve for speed. Forget speed. Speed will come. Let's erase time. Let's get rid of right time. We figured out how to do that. We figured out how we could reach out to these people. We started the outreach because now that we just have one problem to solve, not time, we can solve that if we focus on it. Now we start to figure out, we need to stay front in mind to lots of people. And now we have an overlap. And a second order consequence, if you like, is that right time now feeds into this, right? And then just like that, we have a solution. So from a multitude of things throwing spaghetti at the wall, we now have something to actually get up and do every single day, which takes you to where you actually want. So yeah, that's kind of how we do it without different models, rice, all that stuff. Hopefully you can follow that through and put your own situation into this. And yeah, let me know how you get on. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful to you. And yeah, if you ever have any breakthroughs or anything like that, that would be awesome to hear about as well. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care.